Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Hui Podcast. Today's story revolves around some big names shining on the stage of technology and policy. Sam Altman, Donald Trump, and Masayoshi Son. Together, they hold a vision called Stargate. It all started during the Biden era. Back then, Sam Altman began spreading the idea of Stargate. He dreamed of building a massive computing center right in the heart of America. When Donald Trump took office, the plan got an official announcement. Masayoshi Son, Sam Altman, Oracle, and an unnamed billionaire from the Middle East joined forces to make this idea a reality. Their plan was ambitious. Invest $50 billion in the US over 4 years to bring Stargate to life. This $50 billion isn't just a number, it means creating 100,000 high-paying jobs in America. These jobs won't be for delivery workers or drivers, but will include roles like IT maintenance professionals, which are highly valued. The initial investment is expected to be $10 billion. As for future funding, whether it goes up or down depends on how things unfold. But one thing is clear: what matters most is the commitment behind it, not just the numbers on paper. This $10 billion could be implemented within the next 2 years, and it's already written into the agreements. If everything goes as planned, the investment might grow. If it doesn't, the funding might shrink. But don't forget that $50 billion promise. It's like a kite in the wind, reachable only when the wind blows just right. All of this is laid out in the memorandum, waiting to be fulfilled. Under the vast sky of technology, a dream woven by brilliant minds is taking shape. Stargate, like a bright star, is drawing attention from industry giants. At its core is a team of dedicated explorers from OpenAI, Oracle, SoftBank, and a mysterious company called MGX. Their decisions could shape the world and even the universe. This project doesn't just involve the main players. Behind the scenes, Arkansas M plays a key role. SoftBank, which owns 90% of ARM, makes sure ARM is deeply tied to this game. The creation of new computing chips will depend heavily on ARM's intellectual property. As a result, Arkansas M has quietly entered the spotlight. Microsoft, a tech giant, is also part of this grand plan. With 49% ownership of OpenAI, Microsoft holds a powerful position. To push the Stargate project forward, Microsoft even adjusted its rules, allowing OpenAI to pick other computing providers. This is a big concession on Microsoft's part. What did Microsoft get in return? OpenAI gave Microsoft full access to its cloud computing APIs. This means no matter how OpenAI grows, it will still depend on Microsoft for cloud services. That's Microsoft's big win in this game. NVIDIA also plays a vital role here. Even if OpenAI eventually develops its own chips, it still relies on NVIDIA's hardware for now. This ensures NVIDIA has a solid place in the Stargate project. The announcement of Stargate sparked a strong reaction in the tech world. Stocks from Microsoft, Nevada IDEA, and ARM rose immediately. But not everyone was happy. Elon Musk, for instance, made some sarcastic remarks, likely because his legal battle with OpenAI is still ongoing. In this grand tech game, each company's interests are intertwined, creating a complex web. Behind it all is a shared dream: to explore the unknown and unlock the future with Stargate. On the distant horizon, a grand vision appears. It's a massive computing pool worth $500 billion, built by xAI. The scale is breathtaking, with countless GPUs lying dormant, their true power yet to be unleashed. Let's turn back the clock to those days full of debates and controversies. Elon Musk once publicly declared that Masayoshi Son's $10 billion investment wasn't a big deal because it couldn't solve the problem of chip production. He said that no matter how much money you have, you'd still have to wait in line at TSMC. At that time, TSMC was the only company capable of producing these advanced chips. Even Samsung couldn't compete. As for Intel, although they claimed to have cutting-edge manufacturing capabilities, they only had prototypes and no real products. In fact, Intel relied on TSMC to make their advanced chips. Musk's statement caused quite a stir back then. But none of this stopped xAI from pushing forward. They stuck to their vision of a massive computing pool, believing it was the only way to stand out in a fierce competition. However, their competitor Anthropic had questions. Anthropic's CEO, Dario Amodei, publicly criticized the project, saying its funding and progress were confusing and hard to follow. When Trump removed Biden's AI regulatory policies, Dario had mixed feelings. On one hand, he welcomed the relaxed rules because AI companies no longer had to bear certain risks and responsibilities. On the other hand, he worried. His company was known for its constitution-based AI models, which were safer than others. Strict regulations would have given his company an advantage. During this uncertain time, Google chose to stay silent. Maybe they were quietly observing or making their own moves behind the scenes. But one thing was clear. The rules of the game had changed, and the prize was still up for grabs. Amidst all this, someone made a bold move. Without saying much, they acted by putting their money where their mouth was: an extra $1 billion investment into Anthropic's capital pool. This move made it clear to everyone. They were playing the long game. Meanwhile, Meta seemed to hover on the edges of the tech race. Though its internal llama model development was met with skepticism, Meta didn't appear to compete directly with top-tier players like Google's Gemini, Anthropic's Cloud, OpenAI's China CPT, or even its own LAMA models. That said, Meta's contributions to the global AI field were significant. It was thanks to the open sourcing of their llama models that China saw a surge in large-scale AI models. So, can this grand vision everyone's been hyping actually come true? We've heard the ambitious promises from Trump, Sam Altman, and Masayoshi Son, but tech giants like Musk, Anthropic, and Google remain skeptical. Is this vision truly solid, or just a beautifully drawn mirage? One key issue is funding. Musk didn't hold back, bluntly saying that the tight financial situation made the entire plan feel like a house of cards. He predicted the funds would barely last past $10 billion. In this alliance, each player has a role. Masayoshi Son raises the funds, Sam Altman provides the tech, Oracle builds the infrastructure, and Microsoft takes a share of the action. NVIDIA supplies the initial computing power. Whether these resources will be replaced later remains unknown, but for now, the focus is on the present, not the future. And when we talk about funding, it's not just about cash. The $100 billion mentioned here includes financing capacity and various assets. Even though Masayoshi Son has faced challenges with fundraising in the past, his skills remain formidable. Investors often trust those who've learned from failure. In a world full of opportunities and risks, proving your ability becomes the key to unlocking wealth. Looking back, when this dreamer first set out on his V-work journey, his bold steps almost dragged SoftBank into chaos. At that time, investors closed their wallets, fearing their money would sink with him. But over time, he proved himself with ARM's successful IPO. Holding 90% of ARM's shares, he turned it into a powerhouse, with a market cap soaring to nearly $200 billion. His influence didn't stop there. Alongside immense wealth, SoftBank also holds a 9.8% stake in ByteDance, a major player. Looking ahead to 2024, who will be the world's biggest GPU buyer? It'll undoubtedly be Microsoft, with ByteDance right behind. ByteDance plans to purchase around 200,000 S20 chips in 2024, specially authorized by NVIDIA for export to China. Although these chips are slightly downgraded, the numbers are significant. Rumors about ByteDance's procurement plans are everywhere. By 2025, their chip budget could reach $12 billion. Of this, $5.5 billion will be spent domestically, with 60% going toward local chips like Huawei's Ascend 910, mainly for inference tasks rather than large-scale training. The other 40% will go toward purchasing H20 chips designed for training. The remaining $6.8 billion will be spent overseas, likely on NVIDIA's high-end GB200 and GB300 chips. These chips will likely come from the US. In this context, considering whether a small portion of ARM's market value can be counted toward the $100 billion goal, the answer is undoubtedly yes. Using ARM's shares as collateral to raise funds is also a feasible strategy. In this era where power and wisdom reign, one man is becoming a magician of wealth, leading others into uncharted waters. Under the sunny skies of California, a bustling city hides the strategic discussions happening inside ByteDance's headquarters. Masayoshi Son, the Japanese businessman who holds a 9.8% stake in ByteDance, is meeting with his team to discuss an ambitious plan. The topic on the table: how to channel a $6.8 billion GPU procurement contract back into the US. We must understand this isn't just a business issue, it's about strategic positioning, Masayoshi Son said, his tone serious. His words reflected the gravity of the situation. A crucial name surfaced during the discussion: Oracle. ByteDance's US-based cloud computing centers are built on Oracle's cloud platform. Oracle is a vital player in this plan. If we allocate the GPU resources to Oracle's data centers, The success rate of this project will significantly increase. One team member analyzed. But the story doesn't end there. In the corner of this meeting, a lesser-known name MJX gradually came into focus. MJX, a massive fund based in Abu Dhabi, controls billions of dollars in capital. Its leader is none other than Abu Dhabi's deputy crown prince. This project stems from a partnership between the UAE's Sovereign Wealth Fund and G42, holding a treasure trove of valuable assets. As the discussion progressed, it became clear that this project's success wasn't just dependent on ByteDance and Oracle. MJX was intricately tied to the plan, and behind it all there was TikTok. The global short video platform is also part of the equation. Oracle owns 12.5% of TikTok, while 80% of TikTok International is controlled by ByteDance, with the remaining 20% held by US investors. Look, even TikTok is involved. Masayoshi Son, Oracle, they're all connected, someone remarked. Amid this seemingly flawless plan, the challenge of chip manufacturing still loomed large. Elon Musk once joked that they didn't have enough money to solve the problem. So, how could they tackle it? While the process appeared chaotic, everyone understood that unity was their only way to face the challenges ahead. In this era full of opportunities and risks, they hoped to find an answer. In the ever-shifting tech world, Intel's market value fluctuated wildly like a roller coaster, while TSMC remained as steady as a rock, earning everyone's trust. After Intel suddenly changed leadership, rumors surfaced about a mysterious buyer approaching the Silicon Valley giant. Though no deal was finalized, speculation about Intel's fate stirred waves in the stock market. Rewinding a bit, Intel's market value was around $93.8 billion. Although the Stargate project brought some attention to it, buying Intel outright didn't seem realistic. After all, the project's initial investment required $100 billion. Spending $93.8 billion to buy Intel would strain the financial resources. However, acquiring just Intel's chip factories could be a different story. A tricky financial issue also emerged. Intel had accepted funding from the Biden administration. This money might not be fully repayable, but if it was used to purchase chip factories, it could potentially balance the books. Whether or not the chips would be successfully produced, everyone involved stood to benefit. We must also consider the influence of Abu Dhabi's fund, MGX. They hold two critical investments, AMD and Global Foundries. AMD, led by Lisa Su, and Global Foundries, AMD's former chip manufacturing partner, are key players. Backed by Abu Dhabi's sovereign fund, AMD split off from its manufacturing unit, giving the UAE a foothold in the tech world. Under the distant stars, a grand plan quietly takes shape, named Stargate. This plan radiates unmatched allure, shining like a precious jewel in the universe. Yet behind this brilliance lies a little-known secret. Let's turn back the clock to those legendary days. Back then, financial giants controlled AMD and Global Foundries, wielding advanced manufacturing technologies like a sharp sword. People began speculating about the $100 billion. $500 billion, how exactly would it be calculated? Was it simply cash? The truth is, the methods varied endlessly. Equity deals, value consolidation, and other financial maneuvers emerged, all aiming to make those numbers look clear and polished. It reminds me of a historical novel I once read. It explained why the Ming Dynasty repeatedly lost wars. The reason was simple. Corrupt officials pocketed state funds meant for the army. They inflated troop numbers, claiming tens of thousands of soldiers when there were only a few thousand. When war broke out, these underfunded armies were easily defeated. On paper, though, the budget's balanced, as officials used clever tricks to cover up their embezzlement. Perhaps the Stargate plan serves a similar purpose. It's like a giant brush, sweeping away old debts with ease. With such a tool, the numbers on the balance sheet can appear flawless. When this plan was revealed to the world, how might other countries respond? Middle Eastern nations would likely invest heavily. They understand that oil reserves will one day run out, and computing power is becoming the new oil. Countries like the UAE, and possibly Saudi Arabia in the future, would contribute generously to this initiative. This plan could lead to the establishment of numerous data centers in the Middle East. With Biden's AI restrictions lifted by Trump, these nations now have the freedom to build these facilities and catch up with the competition. In Europe, there could be a wave of talent poaching by the US. With so many data centers and computing hubs located in America, it's only natural that talent from Europe will be drawn to them. China, on the other hand, might see a new surge in infrastructure projects. Large-scale infrastructure development could become its key strategy to counter the Stargate plan. Across the world, every nation is striving for its future, like stars in the vast cosmos, working together, yet competing. The Stargate plan stands out as the brightest star, guiding them forward. In the east, a massive wave of construction is quietly taking shape. This surge of development is like a shining galaxy, illuminating the path to national rejuvenation. When asked about the significance of such an enormous project, a wise man answered, "It will lead us to prosperity, much like the story of Zhengguo's canal." The story goes back to the time before Emperor Qin unified the Six Kingdoms. A man named Zhengguo proposed a grand idea to build a canal to irrigate Qin's land. Despite the immense resources it would consume, many supported it. Why? Because it was a politically sound project that could strengthen the nation and enrich its people. The enormous benefits motivated people to rally behind it. Similarly, projects like the Star Wars initiative once caused economic trouble for the Soviet Union. But unlike the Soviet Union, China has a stronger economy. That's why this wave of infrastructure projects is not only necessary, but also feasible. In this wave, how will major companies fare in the short term? NVIDIA's chip shipments will undoubtedly soar since designing new chips takes at least 2 years. During this time, buying NVIDIA chips is the smartest choice. TSMC will see its order books filled because no other company can match its advanced manufacturing processes in the short term. Intel is working on 1.8 nanometers and 1.4 nanometers processes, but whether they can complete them before Trump leaves office remains uncertain. As for global foundries, they've already given up on processes below 10 nanometers, capping their capabilities at 12 nanometers. In this infrastructure boom, we will witness rapid technological advancements and national prosperity. This is the path for China to achieve greatness and fulfill its dream of rejuvenation. In the vast tech landscape, emerging giants are quietly battling for supremacy. Companies like Amazon and Google shine like brilliant stars, determined to maintain their dominance by pouring resources into research and innovation. Meanwhile, OpenAI seems to have gained a head start. Holding a trump card, they've made competitors wary. Yes, US President Trump has officially announced the start of the Stargate project. The news landed like a bombshell, putting immense pressure on all competitors. They know that to avoid being left behind, they must raise the stakes and invest aggressively. Among them, Microsoft and OpenAI share a somewhat complex relationship. While OpenAI holds a slight technological edge, they've hit a plateau, unable to grow as rapidly as before. This has put them in an awkward position, leaving room for others to catch up. ByteDance is one such contender. They see an opportunity to rise, but need to resolve the TikTok issue first. Only then can they decide their stance. For now, they lean towards supporting OpenAI, given the intricate ties between OpenAI and many of ByteDance's shareholders. So, can the Stargate project really succeed, or is it just a beautiful dream? Let's break it down. A massive project like this has almost no chance of succeeding without exceptional leadership. It's clear that regular corporate managers won't be able to handle something of this scale. While Masayoshi Son is the chairman, we still don't know who the project's CEO is or who's actually executing it. Even if Sam Altman takes the reins, I have my doubts about whether he can pull it off. Then there's the question of the economic gate. This is an even more complicated issue. In this era of rapid technological change, only those bold enough to stand at the forefront can uncover its mysteries. As time marches on and the story nears its climax, a seemingly humble inference chip emerges as the thread tying everything together. Let's turn back the clock and uncover the clues behind this mystery. On quiet nights, Nevada IDEA continues to dominate the training chip world. But what about the elusive inference chip? Could it suddenly burst onto the scene and change everything? Who knows what surprises lie ahead? Long-term projects, future promises, wait and see. This phrase feels like a secret code unlocking the doors to the future. The early stages might be quiet, and the middle phases could seem uneventful. But in the end, who can really say? Maybe, in the blink of an eye, we'll find ourselves witnessing history in the making. Will the new inference chips make their debut? Will they take root and flourish in this world? We can't say for sure, but it's clear that chips designed around ARM's architecture will shine brightly somewhere. And the key to it all lies in figuring out who will manufacture these chips. If TSMC continues to take on the production, everything seems to stay under control. But if Intel manages to break through and starts producing 1.8 nanometers or even 1.4 nanometers chips, this game could get a whole lot more interesting. From design to production, a new chip might take just 18 months or maybe 2 to 3 years. We're left hoping that, before Trump's term ends, American chip factories will produce their own chips. We're hoping for new inference chips, for them to light up data centers in Texas or elsewhere, making their mark on the world. My conclusion? Success or failure remains uncertain. But if the Stargate opens, it will undoubtedly bring us more surprises. Let's wait, watch, and savor the fruits of this unfolding future. All right, that's the story I wanted to share today. See you next time.